Up next, we have a dynamic duo, Rune Østgård and Mattis Storhaug. So please welcome Rune and Mattis.
Well, thank you for that very nice introduction. So my name is Rune Østgård, and this is Mattis Storhaug over here. We are both from Norway. I'm a lawyer by trade. I have more than 25 years of experience from that business. And Mattis, he is a graphic designer. He has a ton of experience, including from the advertisement business and also from UX development. And as a fun fact, I can disclose that behind this well-groomed appearance, it's a beast of a Viking. And in his Fiat days, he used to have as a hobby to jump off cliffs doing what we called death diving. So he jumped off cliffs more than 20 meters high and into the water. And I really hope, because he's so valuable to me and also for the Bitcoin community, of course. So I really hope that it doesn't start doing that kind of high time preference hobbies again now in the future. Can you please promise that you don't do that, Mattis?
Thank you for that. What I love about Rune is that he actually has no filter. If it's something he doesn't like, he just says no. And that's quite refreshing. Yep. Okay. So there are a lot of Bitcoin books already. So do we really need more? Yes, of course we do. And this book is different. Rune and I started Østgård just last year. Østgård means the core, the essence in the South African language Xhosa or Xhosa. They use these click sounds when they speak. What we discovered that the work process for a designer and a lawyer is quite similar.
That was kind of a little bit surprising, but I realized it was the same with Mattis being a designer, that he is also used to sort of absorbing vast amounts of information and try to process it and analyze it. And then it's our job to try to condense it and present it in a very clear and concise manner for people who don't understand the subject from beforehand. So everybody can understand what this is all about. This is sort of the way we have to work in order to do our jobs well. And in addition, it is in fact the case that even though I'm a lawyer, I'm a bit creative. And he is, of course, very creative. But this helps us in the sense that we sort of speak the same language. And then it makes it possible for us to envision what we want to create and communicate it in a very effective and efficient manner quite quickly. This is very helpful to us, I think.
So we are on a journey. We focus on orange pilling normies. So we host meetups. Rune does a lot of talks and presentations, write articles, guest podcasts, but we are most known for our books. However, there are challenges.
For instance, when I got into Bitcoin for the first time, it's just about 2 years ago, I noticed that many Bitcoiners wrote and said that Bitcoin and money are very complex subjects, they said. And you need to study Bitcoin for hundreds or even thousands of hours before you can understand it. And I think I reflected in the following way. I felt that this might scare people from becoming part of the community or becoming curious about what this is all about. And in addition, I thought, is it really true that Bitcoin is so complex? And I must add that now, having been working with this subject for quite some time, I realized that it's not so very complex, and it's possible to explain Bitcoin and what the Bitcoin community is about in a very understandable manner.
People read fewer books, and that's quite sad, because we might actually remember and learn better from physical books if they have images, evoke emotions, and makes you excited and curious about what's on the next page. And this is obviously our biggest competitor. The phones steal our attention, and we just get addicted to scrolling.
Sorry, I'm busy with my phone. Very good point. But Mattis, what's our secret sauce? We should perhaps disclose a little bit about that, shouldn't we? I think, first of all, when we write books, we often try to state just from the outset that the subject that we are going to make the reader dive into, in fact, is quite easy to understand. This is a trick that I've been using in order to prime the reader and to improve his confidence when he starts reading the book. In addition, also we try to present things, the most important things, identify the core and the essence of the subject, so that we focus on that instead of all the details, which I think is a tendency in the Bitcoin community, that there are so many things with Bitcoin, you need to explain everything, you know. So you have to focus on the most important things to make it easy for them.
We make our books aesthetically appealing for a broad audience. And we focus on the whole user experience, from how it is to hold it in your hand, to make it simple to read, so that everyone can enjoy it.
In addition, we make ample use of storytelling, presenting real things that has happened in history with real people of flesh and bones. And often we introduce villains and heroes, and also, of course, victims, for instance, of the inflation policy. That's very important in order to present something which is engaging for the reader. So, in this way, we try to make our books stand out from the rest of the books in this space. But we should really dive into and look at some examples of what we are doing with our books, shouldn't we, Mattis?
Fraud coin, 1,000 years with inflation as a policy. This book doesn't have any illustration, because our cooperation started with me designing this cover. But it is the most popular economic book in Norway.
Yes, and in fact, it has been the most popular economics books for more than a year in Norway now. So it's quite successful, actually. And we got a terrific review from Deichman Library, which carries a lot of weight in Norway. That helped us a great deal. And I would just like to say a few things about monetary policy, because my project was sort of to analyze monetary policy and present it for readers, so that everybody, not only economists or Bitcoiners, should be able to understand this. And what I realized was that monetary policy developed sort of in 3 steps over the time. First, it was a ruler, a king, or a government who introduced, sort of monopolized the control over the money by using coercion, actually using violence and threatening the people to accept his money. And the next second step, it happened 100 years ago in the 1920s, 1930s, when some economists, for instance, John Maynard Keynes, he came up with the idea that inflation is something scientific, you know. Monetary policy is scientific, almost, and presented the inflation as good for the economy and something good for the people, which is bullshit, by the way, which you know, of course. And then the third step was that people started parroting these ideas of the economic professors and others, and we got used to the idea that inflation is good for us. So in totality, I realized that the nature of inflation policy, as I call it, or monetary policy, is that it creates many layers of illusions for the people, and that that is a deception which is at the core, deception at the core. And that's the reason why I call the book Fraud Coin. So our first real project together was the second book I wrote about money, which is called UNBAR. And UNBAR is about the relationship between the monetary system and what we call geopolitics. We focus on globalization. And actually, you have probably noticed that Yuval Harari, the philosopher who is closely related to World Economic Forum, he has been talking about Bitcoin and trashing Bitcoin lately. Well, we absolutely crush his presentation on money, his understanding of money, and how it relates to history in this book. That was quite enjoyable part of the work we did there, actually.
This book was an experiment. Can we take a very complex subject and make it accessible? So one guy come up to me and he said, I really love the part about the rebels, the black pages. So I'm not sure if it was Rune's storytelling or my illustrations or the use of colors or the fact that he had to rotate the book to read that part that made it so memorable to him. But I think it was a combination of all that. And this is Arrow of Truth. This is our passion project. So we start by presenting the problem with monetary policy, money printing, destruction of savings, and so on. And then we let the reader discover how Bitcoin fixes this. And we encourage them to read the white paper as well. So we combine the best aspects from our earlier books and amplify on Rune's storytelling with bold design.
In addition, we bring something again from our own culture and history as we draw parallels between the society in the Viking Age 1,000 years ago, where we analyze the technical, legal, and social architecture of the society back then, and compare it with the technical architecture of Bitcoin, and also the social layer of Bitcoin, so people can see the similarities there. It presents Bitcoin and the Bitcoin community in a very positive way, and makes it a very interesting and special experience for people, and a bit unusual, of course, compared with most other Bitcoin books.
And we also address a lot of the typical FUDs. So energy use, crime, etc.
So, in conclusion, our company name is Undoku, and it means the core, the essence. And this will always be our focal point. Mattis and I, we create books that are stunning and easy to read. And, I'm sorry. In addition, we think that we fill the readers with wisdom and unforgettable stories, which makes the orange pill taste as sweet as honey.
Yes. So the book Arrow of Truth, if you're interested in it, it's possible to get a discount if you register on our website. And if you want, you can follow us on Twitter and Nostr. Our Unbar book is sadly stuck in customs. It's available on Amazon, but we have a copy that you can look at if you want to. And we actually have a book signing. So the Fraud Coin book is available at the Consensus booth. So yeah. So if you guys have any questions or want to talk with us, we will be hanging around here because the book signing is in 10 minutes.
And I don't know about the time now, if we have time for some questions, do we? So please just put your hand in the air and the mic will be sent to you and you can ask questions, if there is anything.
Hi there. I didn't read or do I know what you talked about Harari, but I would love a little excerpt since I'm not a big fan either.
There goes 10 minutes.
Throw him out, throw him out. No. I'll try to respond to that. Actually, you know, the main thesis of Harari seems to me that everything is about storytelling and the narrative. So it's shared stories that separates us as human beings from animals, for instance. And this helps to explain the course of history, etc. So he presents the money and monetary history just as something illusory, something which is just a story told by bankers and finance ministers and those kind of people, and they're very good at it. And then we believe it, and we trust it, and that's why money works. And this is totally wrong. But why it is wrong, I think you need to buy Unbar to check out the answer for that. It's totally wrong. And just for me to add, if you don't understand the monetary system and the function of money, which Harari doesn't at all, it's impossible to understand the history. And he's supposed to be a historian and a philosopher. So he doesn't understand history. All of his works is bullshit. Any other questions? Okay. Thanks for listening. Please join us at the Consensus booth where we'll have a signing session now, and let's have a chat there. Okay, thank you.